Okay, what if you've accumulated some money, or you're in the wealth accumulation side, but you also have some money to be managed? How do we optimize that? Well, first of all, what's the industry answer? So have you guys ever heard of indexed annuities? Okay, indexed annuities are just a tremendously easy product to sell. I think there's like 70, you had a stat up here before, 70 some odd $million last year alone was placed in annuities.
Billion.
What's that?
Billion.
70 billion. Okay, and guess how many of those dollars should have been placed? Probably zero. Index annuities have very long penalty periods. You have complex index calculations and definitions. Most of the agents don't even understand what they're putting you in. They have very, very poor performance, and they have very high commissions. So most of these have 10 to 15 year penalty periods. Why would you go into something with a 10 to 15 year penalty period? To pay that agent 10 to 15% commission. That's why you do it. There is no reason to be into a 10 to 15 year penalty period. It makes no sense. And most of the agents selling these are good people. They're trying to help their friends and family that they're selling these to. They just don't understand them. I put my mom into one of these before I really understood them. And I love my mom. I wasn't trying to hurt her. So it's a matter of good people sometimes do the wrong thing, not because they're bad people, they just don't know any better. So we want to get people up to speed as to how you do it right. So these, it's not even close. These things fail our tests very clearly. Now, one of the reasons they fail our test is we can do it very much better in a couple of different ways. So what we do is what's called a structured strategy built off of a structured note strategy. So what if you could capture, instead of the caps that are in these annuities, which are often 4 to 6%, or even those that are higher, they're actually doing some sort of an average formula, or they're forcing you to put 40% into cash that's earning nothing. They do all kinds of games. What if instead of that, we could capture all of the upside of the market, not 13%, 100% of the upside of the market, and we could have complete downside protection in the stock market? Does that sound pretty good? Is it possible, do you think? You can do it. It is possible. The question is how. So first thing you got to think about is these insurance companies. So if an insurance company can give you some of the upside, do you think they're giving you everything they know how to give you? Or do you think maybe they've got a lot of expenses they got to recapture? They're paying 10 to 15% out in commissions. They're paying the wholesaler, usually $500,000 a year is what they're making. They're paying their managers a lot of money. They've got these advertisements they're paying for. They've got all kinds of overhead and expenses, and they're a for-profit business, so they want to make some money too. So when you do all of that, I was told the other day their profits are about 6%. Not huge, not obscene, but what you're getting is the crumbs, and everybody's getting a piece of you along the way. So if instead we cut out the middlemen, cut out all this fat, and we build it direct, can we accomplish this? And we absolutely can. So this is what it would look like. So this is 1999 all the way through 2013. You see in a typical index annuity where you had a 6% cap. So one was brought in, and I always just kind of let the wholesalers come in to pitch me on their index annuities so I can see the latest and greatest. And they were bragging about their 4% cap. And I said, how can you even sit here with a straight face and say this is exciting and it's a 4% cap? So we gave them the benefit of the doubt that it was a 6% cap, and this is what you would have made from 99 through 2013. 169,968 is what your 100,000 would have grown to. Compared to an unlimited cap, you would have had 409,374. So you made 300,000 versus 69 profit. Pretty big difference, right? Now what if we can do this and we can get those gains in a Roth? Would that be powerful? And you can. So I had an interesting phone call driving into work this morning. It just kind of cracked me up because I have an engineer type client. This is his first year of doing this strategy where we do a strategic Roth conversion with what we're showing you. And he says, Terry, should we sell today? We've doubled our money. Should we sell? And he's only up 10% in the market. He's been in part of the year. And he's all excited. And I said, his name's Bob. I said, Bob, we're not selling today. The whole idea is we're in the market all the time. We'll be placing our new options, which is part of this to make it work, and we'll be selling our old, and then we'll decide, are we going to keep it as a Roth or what are we doing? And he's like, yeah, but we made so much money, shouldn't we sell? And I said, well, Bob, do you want to achieve the numbers I showed you? And I showed him kind of historical numbers. And he said, yeah. And I said, then you don't sell. We're going to stick to the strategy. And he says, I just can't believe it worked. And this is a guy that I'm the first financial advisor that he's actually given some money to. You go into his office, he has literally 6 screens, and he trades every day until the market closes. And I've only got part of his money. And this guy's thrilled because it actually works. He thought I was selling him a story, yet he's still invested. So I'm not sure why that happened, but he's thrilled because it's actually working. So this is something that, by the way, you can do an off-the-shelf version of this. It's called a structured note. They're not quite as good as when we build them directly, but they kill every index annuity out there. So if you ever heard of a structured note, you would never even think about doing an index annuity, yet they're sold in mass. Okay, so again, this strategy is, and that gentleman actually is who we made roughly about an extra 9% return because of the tax strategy. So that's something that we'll show you in detail if it's something you want to get involved with. Okay, now this is the next thing, is that the strategy that I just showed you is incredibly powerful, but it's for people who already have some money. What if you don't have any money? What if you're just getting started? Do you really want to live with only that 13% cap product and liquidity that we showed you? And by the way, that 13% cap, you got to buy life insurance, so there's some expenses coming out. So really, you've got some drag on that portfolio. It's a great product, but it's not the end-all answer. We do a version where we combine the two, and we can take somebody that between now and let's say 10 years, they're going to have $100,000 saved. They could be starting with nothing. And then we can give them the performance of a $100,000 portfolio from day one and do this strategy. So here we did an example of somebody that is going to put away $250 per month, and we're comparing it to just a dollar cost averaging into the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So from 2000 through 2013, they would have $63,000. In the structured note strategy that we're showing here, we'd have $148,000, and we're putting the identical dollars in. We're just doing a complicated strategy. It's not that complicated, but we're doing more than just buying an off-the-shelf product. We're building it direct. But you end up with so much more. Why would you not build it direct? And by the way, when we say build it direct, our members learn how they can go out and actually do it themselves if they wanted to, or they can go to an Alliant professional and they'll do it for them. Is this available in the market today? It absolutely is. We do it for our $1 to $5 million portfolios all the time. Is anybody selling it to the person that's putting away $250 a month?
No.
Absolutely not. It's just as much work as a $1 million portfolio. Why would you do that? Well, we want to do that because that's what will help people get ahead. And where I grew up, everybody was in this position. We want to help everybody, not just people that have accumulated wealth. And we want to help people that have accumulated wealth. They tend to be very nice people too. It's just that we don't want to discriminate against those that are just getting started because they can get to that level. This is what happens if you were younger, so that 25-year-old that did it for, I don't know what that is, like 39 years, they would have $952,000 cost averaging. Not bad, they're almost millionaires. Here we'd have $2.18 million. So again, building it ourselves, we can accomplish a lot more for them. So how do they stack up? We think it's part of the answer. And I say part of the answer because we just showed you a couple strategies. There's several strategies that can be done. It's not a one-size-fits-all, because unfortunately one-size-fits-all is easy to sell, but it's not the right way to do planning.